Hello and welcome to our first Monday Heartstorm call. This is going to be a blessed one. As you guys can see, we have the Kings on here. We've already been chopping it up. Everyone's feeling pretty good. We just did the fast last week, so we feel rejuvenated. But we wanted to make sure we jumped on here and created the space, continue to keep the conversation going, and continue to celebrate each other, share some challenges, talk about the things that are going on in today's world and and in our lives even. And King Sean here, prior to us starting the call, mentioned that it would be a really good call for us to talk about cultivating patience. And I think patience is a really valuable skill set that a lot of people are slowly losing because we're living the I need things quick here right now. And it's important for us to cultivate it. So emphasis on the words cultivating patience because it's something that we really do nurture and grow, and it's a skill that we can develop. But I wanted to touch on that and maybe hear some stories from you guys about how patience has been showing up for you guys in either this month, 2025 so far, or um, today, even. Yeah, so I'd love to hear from you guys. How, how has patience been showing up for you the last like month or so?
Brian, were you going to start? Did you want to start with something or?
Yeah, I started off. In my work line as working at a liquor store, you need a lot of patience. You deal with a lot of customers that are either drunk, got their own thing going on in their own life, and they tend to, you know, give it away on me, let it out on me sometimes. I had customers, get violent, start cursing like crazy, shit that would make someone, go crazy sometimes. And I had to, hold my patience through and believe in the system, and it has worked. If I didn't hold my patience, I would probably be locked up or in trouble or something like that. So
Hmm.
patience really does work in my life a lot.
And like, what's that conversation that you have with yourself, like when you come across those customers,
um
when you're supposed to be patient or when that opportunity arises.
I just see the future. I'm like, if I react to this person in this way, what is going to cause in the future? If I smack him, it's going to cause a problem. If I push him, he might fall, hit his head. You never know. So the best thing is always stay patient and let them do the wilding out, and you just stay calm and try to stay cool. But that's how I deal with it.
I got a question for you, Ryan. So first and foremost, I've started to realize, especially the position at a liquor store, you probably are a low-key therapist.
Oh man, I hear a lot of stories in the day. Plenty.
Well, and I think that's so cool, man, because I feel like that helps you develop those skills of listening and patience. But
Yeah.
what I'm curious about too is do you find that these people are going through stuff and is that like a good way for you to learn oh what not to do and what to do in your life?
Yeah, when I was drinking and I was in their shoes, I was violent. I was always, lashing out on people. So I put myself in their shoes and I'm like, you know what? They might be going through it as bad as I was back then. So, maybe you let it slide. You give them the benefit of doubt, saying that maybe their life is going messed up. So maybe just let it slide this time and next time they apologize. Most of the time they come back and apologize the next day. Hey man, that I wild out last night. I need, I'm sorry and stuff like that.
Hmm. They
Bro,
usually doing a good thing. Oh, go on, Carlos.
no, I resonate with you. I was a bartender for years, bro. And like, when you're drilling with young people, like it's it really does teaches you communication and patience more than a lot of other like jobs. It shows your maturity, the fact that you're still able to show up and not slap a bitch. Like that takes real willpower, bro. So shout out to you, bro, for real.
You know what shows up for me in that too. Hey Jose, buenas noches, way. Thanks for showing up. Um, but something that shows up for me, I like what you said, Brian, about seeing into the future. And the concept that shows up for me is delayed gratification. And I've noticed that things are so rapid in our society, which is great because like you can get pretty much anything at any time, which is really valuable. But also on the other side of that is it's easy to go into that instant gratification. And I notice that when I look into the future, I notice that it helps me delay my gratification and if I really want to have something or not. And speaking of drinking, like I'm not a big drinker, I never have been, but I do enjoy a beer on a nice warm summer day. And yesterday we played golf for Father's Day and we were at a restaurant and I kept thinking, I'm like, man, having a blue moon with an orange would be so good. And I'm like, do I really want this? And I entertained the thought for a while. I'm like, no, I really want it. Like, so I had it and it was fantastic. So I I think there's a lot of power to being able to delay gratification and it allows us to see our thoughts right now and it helps us see like, is this really my thought? Is this really what I want right now? Or is it just kind of like a rogue thought and an impulse and a reaction?
Y'all dropping gems here, just left and right. All I see is this. All I see is this. It's just gems.
Sparkle, sparkle.
This is Sean, my brother, you're the one that literally gave us the idea to talk on patience and cultivating patience. Talk to I would love to hear from you about how patience has been showing up for you lately.
Well, lately, right now, it's showing up as, of course, I'm in my quiet neighborhood and I'm walking by a house and they're doing construction and you can probably hear a saw in the background. So that's funny. Um, so patience, how it's been showing up for me. Other than that, I would say that being patient with the world. A lot of the times, guys, it feels like we're changing diapers all the time. Like humans are so fucking lost, and it's like honestly, really, it really drives me crazy in certain aspects because there's people getting trafficked, there's people starving, there's people dehydrating, there's all this bullshit that happens here on a regular basis, and like somehow we've decided that it's somewhat normal, even though we don't think it's normal. And having the patience to get up every day and do something that's worthwhile in a world that doesn't seem to care has been a huge test of my patience. I mean, that's been my whole life, but definitely like lately, just because clown world is exaggerated. So I'm gonna mute for a second, guys. Bounce that idea for a second. There's a saw going. Hold on.
We can't hear the soul, by the way. Just
Oh,
so
you can't? Okay. Okay,
yeah.
good. So yeah, I mean, it's like I know I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, just like you were saying, Brian. I really do. And some people don't deserve my benefit of the doubt. And that's not because I said so, it's because that's how they act. And so it's like finding the balance of, like you said, Carlos, not slapping a bitch. Because some people really do need to get fucking punched in the face. Just that's what it is. And so finding the balance of not being aggressive and, maintaining my diplomacy and, you know, continuing to wake up to feel motivated because I do have really great stuff going on in my life. I'm doing great projects. I always have. And so, just reminding myself that people are on their journey, but also that doesn't mean I'm going to spoon feed their fucking bullshit to myself. I'm just not going to do that. Like I will punch someone in the face if I have to. I have no problem doing that, but that's the exception. It's not the rule. And in this society, it's like everyone has to be soft now. It's all about being nice all the time and all love and like those are all great things, but there's a certain context that those things are absolutely irrelevant, and it's time to lay the hammer down and like to hold people accountable. And it doesn't look pretty. It's not fun. It's not nice, but it's what needs to be done. And there's a huge lack of responsibility and holding each other accountable on like every single level. And this is a big reason why we see the world the way it is. It's a freaking clown world, guys. I mean, what, we haven't figured out starvation yet? We haven't figured out how to not blow each other up and kill kids and families in their homes with bombs. Like, that's freaking ridiculous to me. So, with all that being said, it's like waking up and working on my practice, making sure that I take care of my health and I really tap in with what's important, which is my family and my friends and my community. Um, but all this stuff is all around us and it's like part of the world we live in. So You know, it's just really ridiculous, a lot of this stuff. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. There's going to be issues at times, but again, like the issues that we see, I mean, it's just retarded, man. It just drives me nuts. It's just so dumb and counterintuitive. And I see a world where we can all win to a certain degree. Sure, there's some competition. Not everyone's equal because we all do different things, but creating a certain baseline of structure where nobody has to starve to death. You know, I don't have to walk through Chicago and get tugged at by some homeless guys who look like they haven't eaten in weeks. They're strung out on drugs. They don't have anything. Like, that's just not okay to me. It's not a sign of a society that really has its shit together, even though, you know, it seems like there's this huge front and stage performance about, oh, we have it all together. We got this. Like, we don't have shit together, guys. It's kind of pathetic, you know? So, um, that's how patience has been showing up with me lately. And I appreciate you guys listening.
Let's go, dude. I love it. I love how you kept it real. I'm So something that stood out to me from what you're saying is definitely, being patient with the world, and understanding how like things in this world work a little bit different than how we might even expect them, and how you're doing the work of accepting it and moving with, the rhythms of how things work here. So I love it, bro. And yeah, like it's a really wild time right now, and I think that, to bring it back to what Alex was saying, like it, delayed gratification is going to be a massive, massive thing. Like it's going to be so important for us to really understand the value of delayed gratification, because it's going to just be easier to get instant gratification. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so I appreciate that, Sean. That's a really awesome share, brother.
Well, it's like, you know, it's not that I don't accept it. Like, I know it is the way it is for sure, but like, what I'm really accepting is like what we're talking about. Like, I accept the fact that I'm here and working on my projects. Like, I don't accept that world for what it is, because I feel like if I do, and I think there's like a fine line. I'm trying to think of the word. It's like I accept it for what it is, but I don't agree with it and I don't condone it at all. Like, not even a little bit, because I feel like if I do, then I'm just literally giving carte blanche to evil and like all this madness that I don't agree with at all, and that I think is should be pretty borderline, pretty baseline, functional, easy to understand. So it's like, you know, it is what it is, and I get that, but like I'll never agree with it, and I won't accept it in the way of like, oh, like that's fine. Like, it's, to me, it's not fine, and it's part of the reason why we do this great work. But it's not like I'm holding, oh, it's never going to change. Like, that's not it. It's just, you know, I'll never agree with it, and I won't align with it because it's not who I am in my heart. And like, I think that that's one of the secrets here, guys. We got to be careful what we align with, because then we pick up all the energetic and etheric and whatever energy associated with it. So it's like we really got to be ninjas and really cultivate our focus and our attention. Because what does all this stuff do? It takes our time and it takes our energy and attention. So if we can really hone those things in, we can really create something that's, no matter how simple it is, doesn't matter. Maybe someone, you know, works at a clothing store their whole life, but they make people smile. Like, to me, like, that's a million times more beneficial than, you know, some CEO who makes billions of dollars off of slaves in the Congo, you know? So it's like, it's all perspective, and it is what it is. But also, again, like, I'm gonna continue living into what I do, and I'll always stand up in the face of that bullshit because I don't agree with it. It doesn't belong in my space, you know?
I love it. I mean, I remember we talked about it on our long ass weekend rant about how an action is action, like it's still a decision. When
Yeah.
you decide not to do something, you're still doing something. So I appreciate that, Sean. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Thanks, man.
Mister, you hear the disrespect? King Aaron, I see your hands up, my brother. We'd love to hear from you. How are you doing? Thanks for joining us today.
Feel
We want to
great.
hear when did the games check. How the games doing?
I feel great. I feel
Aaron,
wonderful.
Okay.
Aaron.
I feel happy today. Good, doing well, better than most, and ready to make it a great rest of the day. I appreciate you letting me jump in. Sean, I hear your heart, bro, and you sharing all that, and it's really like it's very disruptive. I'm not gonna lie to you. And I actually, instead of speaking in the negative, I'm gonna speak in the positive. I am going to be honest with you. This world that we live in and the times that we live in, we're all like Carlos said it best. It's crazy, crazy times that we're living in. Um, I want to first just bring to light the powerful heart, and incredibly sharp mind that you have, Sean. Our mind, somebody I really respect, earlier today, spoke with me, or he sent me a voice message actually, and he said that the mind like makes meaning. It just tries to make meaning of things, tries to make sense of things. And I realized for me personally, like I don't know if it's a recent diagnosis that I've had or something like that, but I tend to really like want to make things fit in like a puzzle. And what's been really like hard but also helpful for me is recognizing that I'm just one little drop in the bucket of or the ocean of consciousness, and the drop that I am is only like the drop that I can be, and I am like who the best that I can be. So I'm totally hearing all that you're saying, and it weighs heavy, brother. Like it weighs heavy on my heart. That's why a lot of times it's easier for people, or for, I'll just speak for myself, to just like drink away the pain, smoke away the pain. But mostly, I mean, for me, it was smoking. Um, it's just so easy just to shut down my emotions, because it's hard to feel. So I want to just bring that to light. And then I have a story too, from earlier this morning. So I was up at 1 a.m. Just couldn't sleep. Got some cool things done. But so you'll have to excuse me that I'm like a little bit weird right now. But yeah, I went and I was like super hungry for breakfast. I'm like, I'm gonna go get some breakfast. I'm like, I'm gonna go get some eggs. So I went to the store. I ended up going and passing some bananas. So I picked up a bunch of bananas and some eggs, and I went and the lady at the counter ringing me up, she was super kind. I'm like asking her like, "Hey, is there any way I can like get this discounted? Because it was like $8 for eggs, and if you didn't have the damn Safeway card, it's freaking $12 for eggs or something like that." Instead, I'm like, I'm not paying no $12 for eggs. So, like, anyway. So she was super kind. She put in like her own number, or whoever's number it is, for me to save on the money there. And I was like, "Are you like, do you don't mind if like I just eat a banana? Because I'm super hangry right now." And um and I did, and I offered her a banana, and she's like, "No, I'm good." And I was leaving, and I was like just so grateful that I get to just eat like real food. And I'm leaving, Sean. I'm leaving this place, and I see somebody cross the street, and then I see her water bottle, and it's like a plastic water bottle, and she's homeless, and she's got a cigarette in between her lips. And I just like, I had the window open, and I'm like, "Hey, like, good morning." And then it wasn't me, it was God. And I was like, "You want a banana?" And she's just like, and I'm like, of course she fucking wants banana. So I take two out of the bunch, I hand it to her, and I see her like in her eyes, and she's just like, "Thank you." She's just like, "Thank you." Amazing, amazing, amazing. I thank you for keeping it light, Alex. But no, it was a really powerful moment. And I was driving away, brothers, kings, guys, I was driving away, and I just bawled my eyes out. Like I can not explain to you. Like I haven't cried like that in a long time. So I just want to bring that to light, Sean, both the duality of the situation, because we're all living in duality ultimately. I think what's wrong is always available, and so is what's right. And so I think it's less about the little things that are, they're really big things. It's not even little. They're freaking huge. I think it really is about the little things. It's about just like little interactions like that. So hopefully that can be of value for somebody. I felt very called to share my story. I feel very complete. I'd love to hear, your perspective, Sean.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, brother. It's good to hear your voice again. Thanks for the voice message earlier. Yeah, I mean, you're right. We live in an insane world, guys. That's not an opinion. It just is. And I think that I don't know, think I know the goal is like you're saying, is to be sane. And so when we make a ripple with everything that we do, no matter how big or small of an action, we're doing the work. So you being generous with some of your food, like that made all the difference. Like it really is about all those little things too. And that's what we're here to do, guys. That's what we want to call it. So yeah, there's power in small, intimate groups. And that's why building a small team around your life, whether it's family or friends or your work, whatever, or all the above, building small, tight-knit teams is where the magic is here. When things get too big here, something very strange happens, and we see it happen in history over and over again. So what you're saying is valid and true in my experience. So yeah, keeping things relatively small and intimate, and the potency and magic is very, very, very hard to not feel.
Yeah, brother, because for me, I've been obsessed with trying to change the absolute world for as long as I can remember. Like being 17, I was like, I want to. Anyway, it was like a senior quote that I wanted to change impoverished communities and give them different opportunities. But bro, I got to the point where I was so busy in my head that I think that's the thing that ended up fucking me up, and that's why I ended up in the hospital for the past 13 days. And obviously I just got out. So I almost died. So that's why I feel like I have a little bit of authority in speaking on that. And my intention from now on, from right here, right now, is all that we have, is literally just to connect. I've redone my values and all that. And literally, like, I've created that to be love and warmth as my top two value. And it used to be kind of just like significance was my top value. Like, okay, I gotta like stone face or whatever, stoic. But now it's literally like just connection, and I changed it to joy and kindness. So yeah, I appreciate your feedback too, Sean. I have so much respect for you, bro.
And me, you, brother, thanks for sharing from your heart. And we're really happy to see you on the other side of that situation, and it's really good to see you back in action, brother.
Thank you. I
Guys,
appreciate you, King.
guys, I really appreciate those shares, and I want to jump in here for a minute. Um, so the first thing that shows up for me is a story, a personal story. And I think this was either 2 or 3 summers ago, but I went river rafting. And before we got on the river, the guide, he was going over all the rules and the things to do and think about. And I didn't listen to anything he said. If I'm being honest, I was so excited to get out on the river. But the one thing I did listen to him say is, when you get to the rapids and you get to the little drops, go right into it. Face it head on. Just face it head on. And that really stuck out to me because I realized life is something to be taken head on. And if we don't take it head on, like if you don't take the river, the rapids head on, you can capsize and flip over, and then the world consumes you. And it reminds me of a book. It was called Y no se lo trago la tierra. And I find that the world will give you a million reasons to get swallowed up. And our goal is to observe it and help when we can and let go when we can't. So I'm hearing a big thing about boundaries. It's important to set boundaries. And just because people are acting crazy and stupid and doing stupid, crazy shit, exactly, Aaron, doesn't mean we have to live into it. And like part of that too is like the savior complex. That's the other thing that shows up. I used to have this notion that everybody wants help and everybody wants to do better. Guys, not everybody wants to do better. And you know what? It ain't my fucking problem. It ain't my problem. And I ain't gonna get wrapped up into it. Because that's not my jam. And if that's how someone decided to live their life, so be it. But I'm gonna protect my heart from those things because that's not my responsibility. I find that that is, in my experience, those people who are caught up in those ways. Um, I remember one of my mentors telling me that the reason why it's the reason why there's discomfort and there's pain in the world is because you have to remember why you changed in the first place. Why did I change in the first place? And if I didn't see pain and suffering and fear and all these things, like, we don't really have too much of a reason to change. And we sure as hell don't remember why we changed in the first place. So I feel you on that, Sean, too. And I felt that a long time. And then I started hanging out with people who are like living into these things, and I realized that some of them, they don't want to change. They don't want to change. This is what they want to do, and the best thing you can do is plant a seed and ask them maybe a few simple questions, and that's the best you can do. And you know what? Sometimes that's good enough. So that's my reflection, and I think it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of discernment to really be able to step back and say, hey, you know what? This is going on. And can I really do anything about it? Because, I mean, if you can't do anything about it and you try to help, I mean, it's going to be two people who are all fucked up instead of one. And like, man, those numbers, I'm going to keep it to one if that's the case. I'm not looking to be a part of that. And I think that's why a lot of the reasons why people get sucked up into things, it just doesn't work that way. If people aren't willing and they're not able, then
We let them. Hey, that's beautiful, brother. Beautiful share. I'd love to hear from Kings, Jose, or Ken possibly. How has patience been showing up for you guys recently? And you can just unmute, by the way. You should be able to just unmute.
Hello, hello. First of all, how's everyone doing? Hello, Alex, Carlos. Uh, nice to meet you, Aaron. Man, I must say, wow, you're bringing a lot of wisdom and knowledge to the table. Like hearing your words and hearing the conversation between Aaron and Sean. Like I love that dynamic, man. Like I'm like, man, these conversations are most and definitely powerful. Like wow, I feel the intensity. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. The way I guess I could say that patience has been showing up for me lately. Um, like I'm still out here trying to grind, still trying to find like a stable income source, I guess you could say. I'm working side gigs, but I'm still developing my skills. So it's kind of patience with myself because it's like you guys say, I feel like I was put into a world where so much is going on so rapidly, but I have to take the time intentionally to slow down and really calculate my moves. Um, so yeah, slowing down, thinking more about what I do because I can hold myself accountable because I know that in the past I may have done things without thinking first. So um, yeah, being more aware to my surroundings and how I affect the space.
Bro, the world needs more awareness, bro. Let's keep it real. The world needs more awareness. And that's so true though. Like especially when talking about patience, like um, when we are patient, we allow ourselves to have that time to be aware, to look around, to look at what our surroundings, and that's a skill really, and such a thing that's like missing. Even employers are looking for people who are present and mindful. Because it's getting lost with the whole social media and everything that's going on in today's world. So that's a beautiful share, Jose. I definitely resonate with that. Heavy, bro. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Anyone else want to share add on to what Jose said? King Aaron. What's up, my brother?
Yeah, so I'd say Jose, you're right on the money with that. I I think I think with the AI age, I think less and less people are gonna be able to have that awareness. And I mean, not to bring it full Matrix mode into the conversation, but like I realize I'm gonna just do it. So God, I don't care if you guys hate me forever, but yeah, dude, I was realizing my phone was that for me. It makes a great servant, but it's a terrible master. And sometimes we forget that it's even our master. So like I was like using AI for like information, but then I just got lost in the information. Oh, I gotta know this, I gotta know that, because one of my highest values is intelligence and learning. And so yeah, it's just super easy to get lost sometimes and not be truly present. So yeah, to your point, King Carlos, I'd say the more we can distinguish or differentiate ourselves as the young kings that we're cultivating ourselves in these conversations, like iron sharpens iron. I think the more that we're doing this, the more we're bringing like conscious awareness to ourselves and growing. I think that's beautiful.
Preach, my road, preach. I love all the gems that are being dropped. I'm loving this. I think this is awesome. Um, and you're here as usual, just being your typical king self. We love to see it. Um,
Carlos, what's
my-
showing up for you?
for sure. So a lot is showing up for me. You guys are sharing a lot of gems. So I have a lot of downloads coming up for me for sure. So one of the first things that comes up for me is what Sean shared about being patient with the world. Specifically, what's showing up for me is I try to find this clip for you guys so I can like share it. But like I think a couple of weeks ago I tried to find this clip and I couldn't. In one of the last like episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience, like that podcast, he talks about how he sees everyone, or at least most people, as babies. And personally, that's where I get my patience from. Like that's how I'm able to help de-escalate people who are aggressive, people who are bigger than me, people who are stronger than me, and I'm still able to bring them down. Um, because I see them as babies, and a lot of the time they're um not, there's a skill set that they're missing, and typically it's emotional regulation. They don't know how to, actually regulate their emotions. So anytime that I'm getting frustrated or angry and I see my patience getting tested, personally, I think of whoever is causing or starting that those feelings for me as a baby, and it gives me all of the patience in the world to deal with that person. Because then I can just think of like, oh no, that's like a baby. Like they don't know any better. It's okay. How you doing, baby? And it's literally in my head, that's all I'm thinking. Like, how can I help you, baby? How can I support you? And it's just been really helpful for me to be patient with people, especially even adults, because sometimes we're like, oh yeah, like we look at the chronological age and it's like, all right, you're 30 years old, right? Or 50 years old even, but emotionally you're like 12. Some people are like 8. Some people are like 8, and younger too. So like for me, that's what's been coming up for me. I love that frame for patience. Anytime that I'm finding myself being impatient, I just think of people as babies, and it just brings me right back to, majority truth. Um, does that make sense? Is that like?
Yeah. And it makes
Mhm.
sense, the thing that you said about the baby thing too, because guys, if you want to talk about the matrix for 2 seconds, there's a word in legalese called client. And when you go and get a lawyer, you're a client. And when you look up the word client in the codes, it literally means an infant or a child of unsound mind. So when I say the word retarded, this is actually what it is. There's a legal definition for this. And because of the way this madness is set up, everyone needs everyone else to make their decisions for them. That's why everyone can't even agree on, who's the CEO of a corporation, guys. I mean, it's like we act like and we are treated like infants and child of unsound mind. instead of taking our focus and saying, okay, like, what do I need to work on? How can I really resolve these things the best of my ability with who's involved? If I need a third party, okay. But like that's always going to be a second option. Like we need to take care of our house and our yard and the people in our house and in our yard, or else we literally are just infants and children of on some mind. And people get mad. Well, that's bullshit. Sean's like, really? If you had to go to court, would you hire a lawyer? 99% of people would say yes. It's like, okay, well then we're a baby because we can't stand up and speak for ourselves. And this is a big problem, guys. We need to be able to stand up and speak for ourselves. And when we really, really don't know how, we find very credible people who help us speak for ourselves because our voice needs to be heard. And that's why I'm really grateful for doing these calls with you guys. So, and the one other question I want to pose is, so we're patient, and obviously it's extremely helpful. But also, it's like, are we just being patient to be patient? Because I feel like patience has its waves and its cycles. And it's like we're patient up to a certain point, and then there's like a breaking point or a transition point. And so it's like, what are we within that breaking point or transition point? What are we actually being patient for? Because if we're just being patient to be patient, we're going to wake up one day and we'll be dead and be like, what was all this patience for? So I feel like it's important to like create some sort of fine pointed thing to aim at with that patience so that we can create things that are measurable, but also like we're talking about things that we don't measure and that are beyond our words that we speak.
I go on, Ken.
If I may interject, I think this is my area of expertise here. I am a professional procrastinator, the best at
Damn, bro.
at justifying my laziness. So I can certainly speak to the downsides of too much patience. Um, I am somebody who gives myself a lot of grace. Let's look at the definition of patience first under that lens. Um, I think if we're hard on ourselves too often, for example, I'm looking at it from the perspective of something that I've got going on right now. It's a new undertaking and something that I'm struggling through the beginning phases of because it's so new. And so I'm trying to give myself grace on the days that I spend, like Aaron was saying, hours and hours messing around with AI and just exploring because I am learning. Even if I'm not actually getting any results immediately, I'm still doing something in the meantime, which I look at over in the grand scheme of things. It's better because at least I'm working on it actively versus days that I don't even interact with it at all. And so I look at it from that perspective first, but then also zooming out with the lens of, okay, that's fine that you can hold that grace for yourself. That's amazing. It's empowering. But at what point is it you're just coddling yourself and giving yourself an out and you're not actually making progress? Because another perspective I look at is patience. Lately I've had this like, and I think people, you guys may relate, but I feel like there's something coming, you know, there's something afoot here. And I like almost like the word, for lack of a better word, it's like there's a revolution on the horizon, you know, there's something big coming. And so I look at patience as in, and even in the grand scheme of humanity, you know, like something is going to wake these people up. Something is going to shake humanity to make all these people that walk around like zombies and have no compassion towards others and all that, like all the problems in the world are going to become very evident very soon. And so I look at patience in that regard. And so all these things come together and it's like, well, what are you doing in the meantime toward that end? And so it's patience of like, it's on the horizon, but I need to be working in the meantime. And then the patience of like, just keep working. You don't know what it's going to look like. You don't know what the result is immediately. It's not tangible, but just keep working because it is on the way. And a little bit of that is faith. A lot of that really is faith.
Mm. Mm. You know, what shows up for me, Ken, thank you for sharing that, the whole procrastination thing. Although I can't really relate to it, I can understand it. And what shows up for me is, guys, I have a whole nother definition of patience. And the distinction that shows up for me is quantity and quality. So what do I mean by that? I find like a lot of the times we think patience is, oh, like I'm going to pursue this long-term goal. It's going to take 10 years. I'm going to have to work on it 5 days a week, 30 hours a week, whatever it is. And like that's definitely part of patience. I find patience to be is taking the right action at the right time. So I think of like a jaguar at a watering hole in the middle of the jungle. He's being patient, not from a time perspective, but he's being patient to observe and align with the next best step, which could be in the next 5 minutes. He could be waiting there for 5 hours. Whatever his goal is, like that's the distinction of patience. And sometimes patience means waiting a moment or waiting 5 moments or waiting 5 hours. So I think that it's not necessarily about a lot. I think it's about being on the right time at the right place. And Carlos, I wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying about being babies, and thank you for that reminder, because what I've noticed is that when I'm in situations where I really want to punch somebody in their face, for lack of a better word, because of however they're acting, I noticed that if I can have that baby mentality or like that curiosity, what I've noticed is that it is such a fucking awesome feeling when you're in those situations. And then like everyone's just like, oh, never mind him, never mind this guy, he's acting a fool. But then I'll come in and then like I'll say the right thing and it completely diffuses the situation. And what I've noticed is kind of go back to Sean's point. My heart kind of feels, I feel the tragedy in it. I see these as little babies who never got the support that they needed with this thing. And I feel with Sean on that. Like, and in the other direction, like I feel like they're my child. And like, and this is like this could be the absolute first time that somebody has actually held space for them and helped them acknowledge what they needed to. So then they actually break through and don't do that stupid fucking shit anymore. And like, guys, that feels fucking amazing. That feels amazing. And like that in and of itself, that helps me see past all of it. And I just see a little child who's like scared in a corner, mom and dad aren't there, and like me giving them my hand. And like that's the first time that that's ever happened. So there's that's been my experience too. And to your point, Sean, too, I acknowledge that 150%, but I want to have compassion for people, man, because we don't know where they've been, we don't know what they haven't had, we don't know what the heck they're up to, and they're I see them crying for help a lot of the times. Very much it's just crying for help.
Couldn't agree more, brother. That's why I love bringing people back to their Ho'oponopono so they can like really tap into that inner child and like give that inner child some love. Because a lot of the time, people kind of just, turn 18 and they're like, I can't be a child anymore. And like that still lives inside you. Right? That's still part of you. It's important for you to integrate with this and give it the attention and the love that's required. Um, Something that's coming up for me as well, and I feel like it's becoming up. It's becoming um I'm dead. I didn't expect to see your face covered in babies like this, bro. This is just a little bit caught me off guard there, but we'll respect it. So, but something that I've noticed throughout all of the shares here, or at least most of them, is that how we're doing an amazing job taking a cosmic perspective and stepping out of our own bodies and really looking at the big picture, like really looking at what happened, um like I was shared before, like really looking at into the future and looking at what it's going to look like, look also into the past and to the present, and like really just taking looking at the whole picture. I love how a lot of you guys mentioned, how important it is to slow down, take a step back, and respond instead of react, which is what most people are doing, and that's some real king shit right there. That's some real king shit like right there. I love it. I'm honestly surprised. I imagine we lost Aaron because he was dropping some gems. So Matrix was like, nope. I'm surprised that it's still going. So I'm glad that we're going this deep because this is really important stuff. Um, I also want to touch on and this is going deeper into what we're talking about in patience, right? And what you just shared, Alex, as well. Like when is the right time to be patient is so crucial. Like, and something that came up when I was listening to you as well, to you, Ken, is are you, BSing yourself? Like, are you BSing yourself, or like, is this actually the right time for you to be patient? Because yeah, like, there's definitely times where patience is crucial, and it's important that we hold steady. But I think for a lot of people, it's the other way around, where they're too patient and they're so cool with just allowing things to be, and they have this misconception about how things are going to just stay the same, nothing's going to change, and the opportunity is never going to leave, and I'm always going to be healthy, I'm always going to be fast, like all those things, and not acknowledging the reality of things. So for me, I love to like really check in with myself and like, okay, like, are you BSing yourself? Because at the end of the day, like, when you go to bed at night, when you look in the mirror, you know better than anyone else. No one else can tell you this. Are you BSing yourself? Or was that the actual, like, a good time for you to be patient? Um, yeah. So I hope that makes sense, but that's definitely what's coming out for me.
I wanted to mention one thing. Thank you for reminding me in that, Sherry. You must have been picking up on my brainwave. Um, to go off of what I was saying, like the like the right timing for patients. This is why third party validation and also like getting a perspective outside of yourself. Cause like sometimes I'll be very impatient, but it's not because it's me. It's because, yo, homie, like the train is leaving in 5 minutes and I want to go to the city. And like I'm kind of a little bit behind. Like, so I'm going to act with urgency and what comes off as impatience. So like there's times for that too, because if I don't catch that train, the next train is in 2 hours, and then I'm not going to be able to do what I needed to do in the city, and it's going to set me back, and then I'm not going to be able to get back on time. So there's that too. So I'm really happy you touched on that and knowing the difference, the timing, like that's that's where it's at, guys. Like that's what shows up for me, and that's when I find myself getting impatient, and then also I can be impatient because I get impatient.
It easily is. It is what it is. You gotta acknowledge the truth. I love it. I love it. This has been such an awesome call. Honestly, I feel pretty complete. I feel like we shared pretty like some awesome. Actually, no, there's one other thing that I wanted to touch on as well that Ken brought up, when it comes to patience, and I think that a lot of patience does have a foundation in faith, and specifically the decision as to making a decision between two different things. Do you believe that it would everything's gonna work out, or that things won't work out? And I think this is a decision that's important for all of us to make. And I want to acknowledge that I've noticed a lot of people who stay on the fence with that. And outweighing the devil, I believe that that's a form of drifting, where you're staying between, like, things might work out, things might not work out. I believe that stop that shit, make a decision. Do you believe that things are going to work out, or do you believe that they're not? And if they're not, act accordingly. And if that they are, then act accordingly. But I personally have noticed a lot of people who stay on the verge, and they flip flop back and forth between things aren't going to work out and are not going to work out, and I think it's that is a lack of faith that also makes it a lot harder to be patient, because when you don't believe that things are going to work out, you're going to be moving in a rush and in a haste, and anything that's done in a rush, it typically backfires. Nature never rushes, and everything gets done, gets accomplished. So that's what's coming up for me. So I wanted to touch on that with you guys, and how you guys see faith coming up um as a foundation for patients for in you guys' lives. I know we have like a good 8 minutes, so we could probably get a couple shares.
For me, when you say the word faith, what I hear is focus. It's like it's finding an unwavering focus, and that you live with and you be by. That's really what faith does. That. So it's like we have to have focus, or if we don't have any focus, then everything takes our attention. If everything takes our attention, I don't really know what to call it anymore. But we're not doing what we think we're doing. That's for sure. And that really ties back to this whole thing about procrastination. I was thinking about what you were saying, Carlos. Everyone was saying about procrastination. And I get there is a sense at times we put things off. And I think in me, part of what I know that is, though, is that I feel like we live in such a strange world with such a vast array of awkward and dysfunctional behavior patterns that like sometimes we just want to stop and smell the flowers. We just want to be free. We don't want to have a schedule. We don't want to have to do anything. We want to just be here and present. And some people call that meditation. But I feel like that's at least a part of the procrastination is it's really just our heart and our body and our mind and everything just saying like I don't need to do anything right now. I can just be happy doing what I'm doing. I don't need to strive for anything. I don't need to try and gain anything. I don't need to try to lose anything. Like I can just be happy with here and now. And let's face it, guys, that like what we deal with here, a lot of the times is the exact opposite of that. So in procrastination, I also see a beauty of being present and just being happy with whatever the fuck you got going on right now, no matter what it is. And to me, like that side of it is a really beautiful thing. So
Cooking, bro. Cooking. I love it. I love that. I love that. Beautiful. Well, what else is coming up for you guys before we jump off? We got about 5 more minutes. We can end the call, or we can. Alex, yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up the topic of patience, Sean, and everybody. I appreciate your guys' perspective and what you're all working on. Jose, shout out to you, man. You've been doing great work. Keep up the great work. Um, Ken, I love the whole idea of procrastination, and that's given me different perspectives. Yeah, everyone's really cooking today, and that's really the point of these calls is to really communicate these things and get them out of our head and get them out of our heart and share them because we don't know who we can help. And I noticed that a big part of this, like to go back to Sean, um, all the dysfunctional things in society, um, obviously there's exceptions to the rule, but I think a lot of the times people just need to talk it out and talk it out in a way that is healthy and safe, but also firm in its conviction. So we don't fall into that driftless pattern, as you say, Carlos. I love that too, by the way, the whole drifting. And um, so yeah, it's really an honor and a joy to see you guys, and thanks for showing up on our first Monday Heartstorm call.
I love it. And I just want to say, these calls eventually they're going to be part of the Young Kings University podcast, the Hearthstone podcast. And I also want to say how this call was a test of my patience with Sean, because he said retarded a few times. So now this is going to be demonetized from YouTube. So we're gonna have to go and edit it because you can't say retarded on this stuff, otherwise, like you don't get paid. So things same with Spotify. So thank you, Sean, for testing my patience. But yeah, dude, this is awesome. I'm loving this call, and yeah, I want to end with something that King Aaron shared. The how our phones can be a master. And I want to leave you guys with that. I want to really bring it back. And I want to go a little bit deeper into that as well. Because sometimes phones can be a tool, but they can also be a master. And by that, I mean that they control our lives. But I want to emphasize how it's literally a multi-billion-dollar freaking industry in your pocket that's trying to control you. So it's not just a little like a technological little thing, but it's really multiple different companies who are trying to take your freedom away. Whether that means taking away your attention, whether that is taking away your time, your energy. They're looking for it and they're spending billions of dollars every day trying to get it. So let's be mindful, let's be patient, Kings, and let's keep growing because hey, it's elevation season. I appreciate all of y'all for being on today. We will see you guys again next Monday. Let's make sure you tap in for the mastermind on July 6th. So let's tap in for those and it's all up. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Thanks, Kings. Thanks for showing up. See y'all next time. Have a great night.
thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Bye.